Hello and welcome, everyone. We are doing this podcast after a bit longer than we had envisioned. So it's been what, couple weeks already. I think we did it last Sunday. So basically, Akshan was super busy with his schedule, and as always, I was always available, but then he was not. So we had to wait a little longer for this podcast. But we've got a lot of news and a lot of exciting things to cover from our side. How have you been, Akshan?
I've been great. It's just that this has been a very hectic week for me. So yeah, and right now I'm talking to a CEO. So this just feels really ironic coming from me. How have you been?
Oh, so you're referring to me as a CEO. I'm talking in the
Oh
capacity of
yeah,
father right now. So I don't really care about. Yeah. So yeah. Basically, I've been, I mean, been busy, but not as busy as you are, because ultimately in college you're supposed to be busy with so many things that in longer terms do not seem like, why did I invest so much time in that? But then that's what life is. So it's good that you're busy and there are some tests also going on. So yeah, let's jump into the news and stuff. You been following some of the news that has been happening?
yeah. Like this past week, past 2 weeks have been incredibly uh, exciting. Very interesting news came up regarding a lot of hardware related news came up actually this week. So yeah,
A lot of launches, I would say. Hardware,
yeah.
software comes along with hardware, so it's not like separate launches and all. Because yeah, so one of the biggest thing, obviously it's been some time. It happened around 17th and 9th, between 17th and 19th September. Meta launched, Meta Connect happened at that point in time, right? So did you follow that one?
Yeah, the Meta Ray-Ban, I believe, right?
Yep.
Those they've been all over the internet at this point. YouTubers and people just, talking about the launch. It's very exciting.
Yep. Is somebody buying it in your college?
Yeah, me and my friends were discussing how we could cheat on our exams with that thing, but who's gonna pay $800 for it?
Okay, that's a good, yeah,
Yeah.
good that you brought that point up. Now, even if I was considering, I would not even think about buying it for you. But good. Yeah, there's so much exciting with Meta Ray-Ban glasses. Apart from that, they've done a lot of other cool stuff as well. So what exactly excited you about Meta Ray-Bans, and what like?
So Apple came out with the Apple Vision Pro like 2 or 3 years ago, and we expected the Apple Vision Pro to be more it looked like more of an AR or virtual reality headset rather than an actual spectacle glasses that you could wear every day, right? You would just feel like a robot. You would feel like you were in cyberpunk or something. But with Meta Ray-Bans, they would not, I will not say similar functionality, but um, very similar form, a factor, and they look completely normal. I would not bat an eye if I saw someone wearing those glasses, and I wouldn't know they were that special.
Okay, so that brings up that prompted me to bring up some history as well, right? So first, as much as I remember, if I remember correctly, Google glasses were the first one to have come in, right? And that was long
Yeah,
back. Nobody wanted, nobody even
2012.
thought
Yeah.
about 2012, 2013, 14. So nobody even thought about having, like computer in a glass, right? And then Meta came with Oculus, right? So Meta's, like vision around this has been going on since, like long time. I would think 2017, 18 maybe, right? Or probably even earlier, 2015, right? So Meta has been playing with it, but then the moment AI happened, they jumped into glasses, and everybody's looking for new form factors. Everybody's looking at, how they can, produce hardware where AI is always there with people. Mobile phones have become pretty old, so yeah, that's there. But yeah, glasses seem like a very interesting form factor. For example, for people like us who wear glasses, right? So we are very used to wearing glasses pretty much all the time. Some people who don't wear glasses, they find it awkward that, how would I wear a goggle inside a room, or why would I wear a goggle inside room? People would think, differently. And then when Google brought it like 10 years back, maybe more, everybody was worried that, privacy invasion and things like that. But now we've gotten used to so much of privacy invasion that we are kind of, okay, that, if somebody's wearing a Meta glass, we are Meta, yeah, Ray-Bans and stuff, we don't really care. But so that's an interesting mindset shift that has happened over a period of last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, right? because that was one of the bigger roadblocks for Google earlier on, that people would not even allow it in public spaces and stuff. So, yep. So some of the specs, that specifically, one of the very interesting things that happened was, within the glass, they've got a screen now, right? So it was there with Google Glass as well. So you can view, and the technology is so interesting that, without any additional hardware, it's projecting onto your lens and stuff. So that's interesting. Okay. So one of the very, we haven't tried any such glasses or goggles, because my biggest worry is we will see something very different from one eye. How does that impact vision in long term? Does it impact vision in long term or not? That's something that I've been thinking about, but I don't know. But apart from that, they've, one very interesting thing that they've brought out is basically the neural wristband, right? Have you thought about that? Have you kind of focused your attention on that?
What I know, it's the Nest band. It just helps you control whatever you're seeing from your glasses, right? It helps you write messages. It helps you with that.
Oh, absolutely.
To a random person, it will seem like you're in a psychotic break or something. But
so not essentially. So my thought on that is a little different. You talking to your glass verbally would have been more psychotic for me, right? You moving your hands a little bit probably does not, because so from where I see it, we are used to scrolling on the screens. Before iPhone came in, people thinking about scrolling on something with their fingers and all that. On laptop mouse pads were like that and stuff, but that was not very convenient. But now every screen is touch screen and things like that, right? But now everybody's looking for something where you can operate without touching actually any surface, right? Everybody's kind of experimenting with that. So this seems to be a very interesting step in that direction. And I would kind of think that, if that happens to be my mouse for my laptop, or if that happens to control my iPhone as well, that would be something very awesome. I don't have to actually, bring it out or scroll it or things like that. I can see it on my glass. I can operate it from my glass, right? So that is something that looks really revolutionary for me. Everything else is kind of has happened. Google has done it and people have been doing it. Oculus has been there and things like that. But this is a really interesting breakthrough that I think, could revolutionize how we interact with any hardware. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw these Ray-Ban Meta glasses were that my Apple Watch is completely useless now. There's not a single thing that my Apple Watch can do that the Meta Ray-Bans cannot do. Why would anyone spend 50,000-60,000 on these watches? So that was the first thing that came to my mind.
So are you saying, so I was also kind of thinking that, when Mark Zuckerberg was presenting it, he was wearing a watch on the one hand and on the other hand, he had a wristband. So if he can merge both of them, have just one watch and does all of this for you, that would be, a very interesting breakthrough, I would think. Why would I want to wear like wristband and then a watch and right? Or maybe I get rid of my watch, but watch is currently doing a lot of, heartbeat monitoring and things like that. So that's where they have to, if he's able to merge both of these functions together, that will be a very interesting breakthrough.
Yeah, I don't think that would be very difficult because Apple came out with the AirPods last week, right? And AirPod 3, they're capable of measuring our heartbeats. So,
oh wow, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The AirPod 3 is one of the key features of the new AirPods. They can not only translate, but they can also measure a heartbeat. So I don't think it would be that difficult to integrate that in the Meta Ray-Bans.
Mm-hmm. But then watches are going forward. They're trying to measure ECG and everything. So yeah, let's see how it pans out. But for now, this looks like a very interesting breakthrough to me. But apart from that, one thing that I not noticed last year and noticed this year was that, Meta Ray-Bans kind of do a real-time translation as well in your ear, right? Were you aware of that?
I believe that this feature came out with the current launch, the Meta Ray-Ban 3.
No. So it was there even in the previous launch. I kind of researched.
Okay.
So it was there. It was released last year, December itself, right? They support very few languages. They support Spanish and then
French. And,
Italian. Yeah. But they had it there. And this time they have a very interesting feature, which is called conversation focus. Have you Do you know about
I
that?
believe, yeah. So, if I'm not wrong, it just focuses on one person, gives the subtitles of whatever they're saying, right?
No, no, no.
Ignoring
So
all the background noise.
essentially, yeah. So essentially, if you're in a crowded place, if you're in a restaurant or on a street, right, with a lot of background noise, a lot of people chatting and chattering, and lots of noise, and let's say two of us are talking, right? Now, if I currently what I would do is, either I'll bring my ear to your mouth, so that you can speak directly in my mouth and in my ear, and I can hear you clearly, or I'll ask you to speak a little loud, right? But what they have done is they have given an option to increase your volume within my earphone without even getting to know about that. So that is conversation focus, and that looks, yeah, that is very helpful, very handy, right? At least for your generation who are mostly in crowded places and enjoying their life. So if you want to hear somebody loud and clear, you can increase just volume in your ear.
That is something that's very interesting. And I actually looked it up, and the thing that I was mentioning earlier, the subtitles, the live subtitles, right? So
Hmm.
I looked up a couple of YouTube videos, and a lot of the YouTubers, they're saying that the live subtitles feature, it's incredibly useful. It's very responsive. It's very quick.
Wow.
But the live translation feature, it takes like 5 to 10 seconds to translate exactly what the other person is saying. So for those 5-10 seconds, it becomes really awkward because you do have no idea where you have to look in those 5-10 seconds. And
So my
so
guess
that
is,
is,
yeah, I mean, because transmitting voice over the internet and bringing it back, and all of this mostly would happen when you're outside, where you're not connected to Wi-Fi even, right? That
Mhm.
would require 5G or probably even higher internet connectivity, right? Because text obviously flows very really streaming text would not consume a lot of bandwidth. So that could be an issue with AirPods as well, I would think. But I mean, maybe they're doing something on the phone itself. I don't know. So we'll have to try that and then we'll figure out. But out of all of these interesting news, a lot of news channels I was watching, or a lot of bloggers I was watching, were focusing on a couple of glitches that happened during beta launch, right? So,
Yeah.
so I was kind of really, I mean, people are kind of breaking new barriers, bringing in new things, doing a lot of new innovation, and then people are just focusing on the couple of glitches that happen. But then, obviously, in this era of AI where we are living, at times some companies make deliberate glitches so that people know that it's been done by humans and not by AI, right? So I mean, in previous launch, GPT-5 launch by OpenAI, they'd made a couple of very basic errors on their charts and all, charts and all, right? So which is where people came up with this logic that I mean, nobody would make that kind of mistake. So do you know, like, the glitches that Meta faced during this?
Yeah, I know the glitches that Meta faced, but uh, you just mentioned that some glitches, they are done on purpose, right? And just in these 5 seconds, that got me to thinking that why would any company want to do that? And yeah, I actually see your point because in 2022, 23, when Apple released iPhone 16, they promised a lot of things. And now we know that a lot of those features were faked. So yeah, now I see your point. Why would any company want to fake these features just so the public knows that they're actually working on something? It's not a
No, no, no,
fake
no, no.
test.
No, no. So that's not the reason.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
that was like, because things are changing really fast. Today,
Hmm.
in demo, there are deliberate glitches because of a couple of reasons.
Hmm.
That's what I mean. There's obviously, it's not an official thing. People talk on social media. So one is, the moment you make a glitch, a very very obvious looking glitch, right? It becomes a talking point. You get a lot of eyeballs. You get a lot of people to talk about you, right? So
Right.
one is that. Two is, in the era of AI, when everything is pixel perfect, right? A couple of glitches make it seem like it's been done by a human, right? So on LinkedIn, you'd see a lot of people who'd never make a spelling mistake add a spelling mistake there because they want to show that it's not been written by ChatGPT, it's written by me. So those are the two key reasons why people are making deliberate mistakes in their presentations or their posts and things like that. So although this one with Meta was not a deliberate, at least it appeared like that, right? Because Mark Zuckerberg was trying to pick a call on WhatsApp using his glasses or his Meta Ray Bans and stuff, but he was not. So later on, their CTO came in and he explained reasons why it happened, right? So he was like, one of the reasons that he gave was so many people were sitting in the room, and the moment Mark Zuckerberg said, the key phrase, which is what was it? Let me quickly look up the phrase. What exactly that was? Meta CTO said that live agent failed because everybody creating DDoS attack. Yeah. So hey Meta, or whatever phrase Mark Zuckerberg used, everybody's glasses responded to that, and there was a DDoS attack on their server. So a lot of traffic went to their server, and servers were not able to take up that load, and which is why the glitch was faced. So ultimately, I mean, obviously there'll be some technical problem, and we know that AI at times, kind of does not work really well. So reasons could be many, but then basically, yes, there were, and with every technical demo, there are always issues. I mean, if you remember Cybertruck launch, right? Elon Musk was trying to,
Elon Musk,
trying to throw a
test the windshield, test the side windows. He threw a metal ball and it shattered the glass. Yeah.
Yep. And then later on, some technical people had to go back and research, and then they found there was a notch in the glass, and so it happens. It is very common. So
yeah,
cool. Anything else to add on Meta launch? Meta Connect 2025.
Not really. It's just really expensive, I believe.
Not essentially. So that's what I mean. Last time we went to buy a pair of sunglasses, so there were a lot of variety which was in the range of 25,000 to 35,000, right? And these come the lowest one, it seems, is about what, $299, like $300, right? So that's like 25 or something around that, right? So
yeah.
So that's where it's not really expensive. Yes, it is expensive. If it ends up replacing your phone, then it's competing with your iPhone, right? You've got a phone, and if you're able to get a, even $799, the one with screen and all, right? $799 is pretty much lower than iPhone, the latest iPhone, right? So if you're a tech geek and you want to be on the cutting edge, it's not unaffordable, and it's probably handy and useful as well. So yeah, even last year I was thinking of experimenting with it. I don't know, maybe this year. I mean, because things are changing so rapidly, I don't know whether I would want to invest money in that or not yet. But yeah, let's see. It's not super expensive. I think people can afford
it.
it.
One thing that got me thinking was when Apple came out with the Vision Pros, it even people like us who wear glasses, we've got optical power, right? We could actually use the Apple Vision Pros because it would we just had to feed in what our power is and it would adjust to our eyes. I don't know if we can do that with the Meta Ray Bans.
So Meta Ray Ban that way is a lot better. It's just the frame. You can put in your numbered glasses in there. It's not, I mean, for people like us, it's like you can wear it 24/7, right? Because you have to anyways wear a glass. So you just replace the frame, get it, the Meta Ray Ban's frame, and then put in whatever glass you want. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Cool. So since it's been a long time since our last podcast, a lot of things have happened on the AI side. OpenAI has been leading the pack there as well. They've done a lot of released a lot of products which impact technology people mostly. Have you been following those?
So I have been experimenting with GPT-5 Codex mostly. I've not been following the news related to OpenAI a lot, but that is what I've been focused on.
Absolutely. I mean, so basically, I mean, there was a technical paper that was launched. So it was pretty much so I've done a YouTube video on that as well. I'll just briefly touch upon that. So basically, even OpenAI's research says that, the large language models deliberately lie at times, which is what Anthropic also found out earlier on. Now even OpenAI is saying the same thing. They found out ways how to, avoid that as well. So that's very interesting. But apart from that, like you've rightly said, Codex has been released, and Codex. So almost every AI company, for example, Grok, or for example, Anthropic, everybody is kind of launching. Even Google is launching, their coding assistants, right? Because coding is the biggest thing that they are after right now. And Codex seems to be, so it was launched last week, I think, or maybe last. So it was launched, and it was launched on 15th September. So it is supposed to be able to run whole night, let's just say 6-7 hours on its own, and do the right things, which is probably not possible with any other tool yet. I haven't tested it, but that's what they say. So let's see. So that's interesting. And then recently they launched Pulse as well. So Pulse is another assistant that they've launched, basically, which does. So I was thinking of writing an agent for me, okay, who would, since I bought Mac Studio, that this is a project that has been on my mind and I've been thinking about it and doing it. Basically, something that I can say that, every morning when I wake up, tell me, let's say, the stocks that I own, some history around, some digging around those every stock to figure out whether the stock price is going to go up or not. I mean, give me some if it's going to be drastically different, right? So one would be that. Two would be, let's say, tell me a little bit about weather in my city. Tell me a little bit about, any important mails have come in from clients that I need to attend to, or anything that else that, my calendar and stuff. So I was thinking of creating that kind of agent, and Pulse is exactly that. So Pulse, if you give it access to your email, if you give it access to your data, then it'll start publishing. Every morning it will tell you some basics about that, right? So that's where, Pulse is. And it seems a lot of people on internet are saying this is another way for them to data mine your data. They would, so because one of the tweets I was reading was Sam Altman was asking for, or somebody else maybe was saying that, you should provide more information about you, who all are there in your family, so that Pulse can provide you more information relevant to them and things like that. So people were responding, it's just a data mining tool because everything else, deep research and everything's already there. So, yeah.
Yes, one interesting thing about Pulse is you just mentioned that Codex is able to run for 5-6 hours even if you're not attending, right? Even if you're away. Pulse
Yep.
does the exact same thing, actually.
It runs overnight.
Pulse,
That's the selling point.
yeah, Pulse runs
Absolutely.
overnight in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And at least for now, Pulse is only on mobile. It's not it is not common on the web or desktop version of OpenAI.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's currently only for, I think, pro users. It's not been released for
Yeah.
Plus yet. So I didn't go deeper into that, but I was just reading through some things on Twitter, or X as you call it now. So that's what that one was. Yeah.
Yeah, like right now, GPT Pro costs around $200, right? They're working on getting it down to $20 just for this version.
So Pro
Bucks.
is $200, Plus is
Yeah.
$20, right? So
Yeah.
currently they've released it for Pro, but they would release it for Plus as well. But the Pro has a lot more benefits in terms of you get their biggest and the best model and things like that. So those, Plus Pro would still probably continue to exist separately, but Plus would get it really soon. So like they say, integration with the Gmail, Google Calendar, and everything is there with. So the next thing was ChatGPT launched ChatGPT for Teens, right? Do you know the background story for that?
I'm not sure about the background story. I just know it's specifically for people under the age of 18, and they've got a lot of censorship around it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there have been some cases, but one case in particular was basically a teenager was kind of collaborating with ChatGPT for quite some time, right? And then at the end, he ended up taking his life, right? So that's where, ChatGPT was under pressure to kind of, have parents kind of be able to monitor the chats that kids are doing, and a lot of, other supporting tools around that. So that's where they've launched ChatGPT for Teens, which was also launched in last couple of weeks itself.
That's a very interesting story because GPT is known for being very censored, very civil, right? Unlike Grok, which can go kind of unhinged at times if you're conversationing with it.
So Grok is very, it's not censored at all. So you can talk to it about anything. But GPT is like, although it's completely censored, they've the words and everything can be censored, but over a period of time when you're communicating about, so recently, like not recently, about a couple months back, which sounds like 10 years. So a couple months back, there was a GPT model release which was more sycophantic. Whatever you tell it, it'll say yes to that. So those kind of things happen with models. So maybe that kind of ended up happening here as well.
Do you think this is a good idea, GPT for Teens?
Say that again.
Do you think it's a good idea GPT for teens making a version that is so censored? Because I mean,
Version is not censored.
everyone
There are
use.
more guardrails there, and ultimately
Yeah,
all the responsibility they are passing back to the parents. I mean, which obviously the company cannot take responsibility. Even for social media, for example, in Australia, they are pushing. There should be no social media up to age of 16 or something, right? Or
yeah,
parents have to observe, because kids can very quickly create a new email ID or new identity with a different age and get into social media, right? So ultimately all the onus comes back to the parents. They have to monitor more, they have to be more vigilant. Even in this case with OpenAI, they've given more tools to parents to be able to monitor chats of their kids, right? So that's what it is. I mean, it's just some more guardrails in place, but let's see. I mean, yeah, they would hopefully they would do whatever they can, because these kind of things are bad when they happen.
yeah.
So apart from that, there were some rumors about OpenAI. Because they have got Johnny Ive, and they are poaching a lot of hardware talent from Apple. So they must be coming out with maybe their own glasses or their some other form factor for AI. So a lot of rumors are spreading around that. I think that's pretty much it on OpenAI. Do you think there is anything else that needs to be discussed?
Yeah, actually, like 2 weeks ago, I attended this webinar. It was held by the CEO and founder of StarSpark AI. And this workshop, this webinar was mostly about using um, CLI AI agentic tools like Codex and Claude Code, and how uh, programmers could use these tools to uh, just push their productivity to the next level. So I just wanted to share my experience of that workshop here. I have been using AI tools for a very long time. I've been write coding for a very long time, couple of months. But what I used to do differently was I would use different tools for different tasks, right? I would just open up 10 tabs, 10 different LLMs, 10 different AI agents, and then I would extract the info from each of those and put it all into one. But this time, last week, I learned something very interesting. I don't need to open 10 different tabs. I don't need to go to different places. I don't need to find all these different tools. All
Mm-hmm.
I need is a powerful IDE. It could just be Visual Studio, it could be Cursor, it could be anything.
Yep.
And I could just open this CLI in the terminal, go to the directories, and build anything I want. So the most interesting thing we learned, it was building
Yep.
sub agents using Cloud Code. That was the most interesting thing. Cloud Code and Codex. And the my favorite part was using different CLIs to cross-check each other's work. So in that workshop, we got Claude Code to build a project for us, build a web application for us, and then we just opened Gemini CLI in the next terminal tab, and we just got
Mhm.
Gemini to basically cross-check and verify whatever Claude Code had done. I had no idea we could do that, because I would just use these tools in a completely different setting. So that opened new gateways for me. That's what I've been experimenting with lately.
Yep, you need to spend some more time with me. So basically, we've not been using Cloud Code and stuff, but we've been using Open Code whole lot, right? And currently, like couple podcasts back, I think I talked about Grok Code Fast One model, right? So that is free with Open Code. And Open Code is almost very similar, pretty much a clone of Cloud Code. But the better thing is with Open Code, you can use any model. You can use OpenAI model, you can use Claude model, you can use Grok's model or Gemini model. So the very thing that you're talking about, you were doing one part with Claude and the other part with, let's say, Codex or Gemini or somebody else, right? Exact same thing we can do, at least we do within Open Code with different models. So code writing is maybe Claude is doing it, right? And then let's say OpenAI's or Grok's model is doing code review. So those things are happening, but all of that is within one ID, so I don't have to install everything else. So you need to spend a little more time with us as well. But good that yeah, you got the taste of Vibe latest, the way you should do Vibe coding, and that makes you very very efficient and effective. So good that you got that exposure. So quickly jumping on to, is there anything else that you want to talk about this now, or should we jump on to the next one?
No, I think we're done with OpenAI for now.
Okay, so some things have been happening on with Elon Musk and XAI and Tesla and stuff, right? Not whole lot. So it was very interesting for me as a techie. So which is why I have it on the news. Okay, so basically Grok 4. So there's a benchmark called ARC-AGI benchmark. Have you heard of that?
I've not.
Okay, ARC-AGI is primarily a benchmark where humans can very easily solve the questions because they're very easy questions, the way the questions are designed. Okay, but AI find it really hard to solve those problems. Okay, ARC-AGI, the full form is Abstract and Reasoning Corpus. So basically, it was created by somebody who came out of Google, and then he created this benchmark, right? So, I mean, this is more like the puzzles we used to solve when we were kids. You know, you would see three or four images, sequential images. You have to find the pattern, and then you would get an image where you have to find out what the next last image would be, right? So similar kind of a lot of questions it forms, and every time it creates new questions. So that's the benchmark. Okay, now on that benchmark, so earlier there was arc 1, then there was arc 2 recently. So Grok's model performs really well, like it's much ahead of every other company's models. Let me quickly try to open up the leaderboard so that I can talk that through. So basically, so on ARC-AGI 1, basically Grok's model is at almost 70-75% or 65%. Okay, 66%. Everything else is, apart from O3 Mini from OpenAI, everything else is behind it. But they have plotted the chart in two different axes. One is, you know, how efficient, how many what percentage of problems it's able to solve. On the x-axis, they've got how much money you have to spend, and the x-axis is logarithmic. So basically, it's 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, things like that, right? So O3 solves the problem with one almost, you know, let's say $130 or $40, which Grok is able to. So yeah, cost per task with O3 is $200, whereas with Grok it's almost $1.01, right? So there's a huge difference in cost.
Wow.
Although O3 is still better in terms of output. Okay, but there are two American researchers, Berman and Pang, who were able to modify Grok's model to make it perform even better and lesser cost as well, right? So on ARC-AGI 2, up until now, Grok was at, on its own, it was at 16%, and no other model has been able to reach that. But the model by these two guys, Berman's model is almost at 30%, and Pang's model is almost at 26%. So without any modification. So which is what, when Elon Musk saw this, he tweeted that, you know, so if they can do it without modifying the model whole lot, just fine tuning, then most likely GPT-5 is going to be AGI. So that's what he's shooting for. So that's why I've kept this on the news, because yeah, this was really interesting that even without bigger GPUs or a whole lot of, you know, like hardware, researchers are able to modify these models a little bit, fine tune it a little bit, and able to make it perform much better than the base product itself. So that's what, and that's where, you know, we might be able to get to AGI a lot faster than we kind of, you know, are thinking now.
Yeah.
So that's where Grok, this thing was really important. And apart from that, so Elon Musk has said, you know, we'll release Grok 5 by the end of this year itself. So by December, he'll be launching another model. So that is going to be very interesting. So anything else on Elon Musk or Grok or Tesla for that matter?
I think we've covered Grok. We're done with Grok for now. I think the main thing would be Google now. Google came out with a lot of interesting things.
Okay.
Yeah. I think let's start with the elephant in the room. Uh, people are naming it as Perplexity Killer. Do you know about this?
I have not very closely followed, but I've heard that Chrome is getting overhauled.
Yeah. So basically, Gemini is being integrated in the Omnibox, the search bar that we get in our browser.
Okay.
And in the last podcast, we discussed that initially Google never admitted that search engines are basically dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now just after 1 or 2 weeks, we would Google working on the exact thing that they claimed was not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the most interesting thing. And as of right now, Perplexity has got the best AI browser in the game. It's called Perplexity Comet. But if Google, but what I've realized is I suggested Perplexity Comet to a lot of my friends, and I've seen that Perplexity Comet is is not performing as well as it used to like a month ago. Till I don't know if it's because it was paid at that time and now it's not. But right now it doesn't perform the tasks as well as it used to. So that's one thing that I've noticed with Perplexity Comet. And now we would Google, the biggest player in the game, coming out with the exact same thing. So that I think that would be really interesting to see.
So from my perspective, although I've got access to Perplexity Comet, but I haven't done a whole lot with it. I'm still kind of following my old ways of doing things, right? But Google Chrome update, so Perplexity not performing well recently. Maybe it's because they've got so many users they're not able to handle because they're using third-party models all the time, right? They're using OpenAI and Gemini and things like that. So that could be one reason. Plus, yeah, maybe they're getting focused on other things as well. So I don't know about the performance bit, but yeah, from Google's perspective, it's like self-destruction. That's why they've been probably kind of trying to delay it as much as possible. If they are not driving traffic to third-party websites, if they're not able to draw in ads, then their revenue is going to suffer. But because of competition, now they have to. So let's see. I mean, it will be really interesting to see how they manage this with ads, right? Because because that's their bread and butter, at least right now, until things change completely. So yes, I've heard that Google Chrome is getting an update. I have heard that it will be rolling out from 2nd of October or sometime around that. But I haven't very closely been following once it sends out the update. And what will be very interesting would be, because Chrome is almost omnipresent. Every machine has Chrome, right? So at scale, when people start to use Gemini, how much Google's model will be able to scale? How so that will be a very interesting thing to watch, because when we go specifically to Comet or we go specifically to OpenAI, that's when we are doing queries, but Chrome is there all the time, right? So so that will be very interesting to watch.
And the reason why I said that Comet, I believe, is slowing down is because I tested Comet a lot, like 2 months ago, right? And when I would show my friends the things that I tested, Comet would like it would fail like 50% of the times for some reason. It wasn't failing back then. So that is what I noticed with Comet.
Wow. Okay. Didn't realize that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't used Comet a whole lot. I've got it installed and set up, but I haven't. I tried it initially, but then I prefer my own agents or OpenAI, so that's where I haven't tried it. But this is interesting to see. I mean, so when the big giants are going to get into the war, I mean, for example, Google and OpenAI, let's see how Perplexity performs. Maybe it's the right time for them to get acquired. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the right person to comment on that, but yeah, let's see. It will be very interesting to watch Chrome versus Comet. So next on the list is, I mean, so Google is doing overall of pretty much everything, right? They're bringing it to TV, they're bringing their AI to YouTube. So all the places where people are interacting with their products, they're bringing AI there, right? On Gemini TV. So that's where. So one is a lot of audiences on Chrome, but TVs are almost in every home here, right?
Yep.
So that's where the scale of at which they'll have to operate for all of this to work well will be very interesting thing to watch out for. How easily they are able to, I mean, we've seen OpenAI's, when they release new models, their servers melt, there's so much traffic, there's so much to do, right? So this is going to be a big test for Google now. If they're able to successfully cross this, then that will make them probably invincible, because if invincible in terms of traffic, but then how do they make money? That will be a very interesting thing. For example, on YouTube, they are integrating their video models, right? So people can generate, for example, if you got some text, they can generate videos for you on the fly, and then you can create a shot and things like that. So they are bringing Gemini like text models on Chrome and TV, but on YouTube they are bringing in a lot of video models and audio models and speech to song. And yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to watch out how Google kind of, I mean, they haven't released their latest model yet, Gemini 3, which everybody is hoping for, but then they are integrating their existing model, which is pretty good model. It's not, it is pretty much in top 10 leaderboard for almost all the leaderboards, right? So it's a very good model, Gemini 2.5 Pro. So let's see once people start using it, how it scales and how they're able to handle that much traffic.
So another thing about Google is that Google released their AI builder in the Google AI Studio a couple of weeks ago. Have you tried
Hmm.
that?
I haven't tried that.
So
I've seen it. Yeah. Have you?
yeah, so I was working with the builder mode in AI Studio, and I the only thing I could think about is only thing I was thinking about was Google came out with a Firebase Studio that a lot of people have no idea about. And Firebase Studio is an incredibly powerful tool. It's it's one of the most powerful AI builders out there. You can do anything with it. So the only thing that came to my mind was why would they build something? Why would they build their own competition? Why would they bring the traffic from Firebase Studio to AI Studio Builder? It doesn't make any sense. But then I looked into it, and Firebase Studio is actually it does a lot more than just uh, on the surface, right? It would handle databases for you, it would handle everything for you. Whereas the AI Studio Builder, all it does is the same tasks as all these other builders are doing. Vercel, Lovable. It's
Hmm.
basically building a web application that looks pretty on the eyes. Yeah, of course, it's by Google. It's incredibly smart. It understands everything very quickly. But that was one thing that I found really interesting. The difference between Firebase Studio, their best AI building agent software, and the most common AI building software that most people are going to use once they get to know about the AI Studio Builder. And
So Google is so big. That is one big problem that even I'm facing. So I mean, it's got so many different flavors of same service. So Firebase, as I knew it, it was a database, like you rightly said. It was, we were using it for Android notifications, and also Android applications would work using Firebase database and a lot of those. So I know it from that perspective. I didn't know that AI was already there. But so even for example, I was trying to use their VO3 model to generate some videos, right? Now they've got two or three or four different services. You have to subscribe to this, you have to subscribe to that, and then you get access to it. So that's where it's really frustrating to, I couldn't even like, so from any interface I could not try their VO3 model. So that's where I loaded up the API, I wrote some code, and then via that code I was able to create some videos. So that seemed like the easiest way. Although they have so many UIs, they have so many, so many applications, but none of them, one of them would require me $20 a month kind of membership. Other would, I just want to try two, three different videos, right? So they could have made it easier for users, consumers. But yeah, that's the big company challenge, right? You've got so many services running at the same time, and you have to go create everything. And so that's where startups, are able to disrupt these companies a lot, quicker and easier.
I've actually got another very interesting story about Google. So Google came out with the Google Joules.
Okay.
And do you know about, have you heard about Google Joules?
Hmm.
The Joules, it's basically an autonomous AI coding assistant or agent. And previously in this podcast, we were discussing, I was discussing my workshop experience, if you remember. I was telling
Hmm.
how in my webinar, in my workshop, I got to learn how I could use different CLI AI agents to cross-check the code. But so Joules basically does the exact same thing inside one application. It'll it'll just give out two LLMs, and the the entire their entire job is to just cross-check each other's work. The second model, all it has to do is go through the code that is written by the first model and cross-check everything and fix whatever mistakes was made by one model. So it's not just a linear way of thinking. It's got two different basically two opponents fixing each other's problems and finding problems. That is
Mm-hmm.
something that Google recently came out with, and it's fascinating. It's very interesting. I haven't tried it yet because it came out like a few days ago. But yeah, this is something that kind of blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. That concept of having two different models. So with Google, I don't know whether they'll be doing it with two different models because they've got like one very good model. So maybe they'll give it two different personas so that it can
Hmm.
do as a coder or as a reviewer, right? But that's where
Hmm.
us who are outside of any corporate, right? Or for example, for Perplexity, right? They can use OpenAI's models, they can use Anthropic's model, they can use Google's model. So that's where we are at, an advantage that we can have the coder as any one model and reviewer as any other model. And so that's only thing is you have to know which models are best for what, and that's where you can use it. But it's interesting that they've one more ID is out and we'll have to probably explore that as well. Anything else on your list from Google?
No, I think I'm done with Google. Because I really found this Joules was very interesting, and this was basically my main topic that I wanted to discuss.
Right. So couple of things from my side that I was tracking from Google. So very interesting from development and coding perspective, right? So one is so we have all heard about MCPs, Model Context Protocol, which was used by all the uh, AI models to create agents. Then came agent to agent protocol, where agents can talk to each other. Now Google has released AP2 protocol. Okay, that is about. Let me quickly. So AP2 is about agents payment protocol. So where the web is going is basically now we everybody is kind of sure that agents will be accessing internet on our behalf. They'll be talking to each other. Agent to agent protocol is there. Now the only frontier that was, no, I should not say only, but one of the major frontiers that was remaining was how agents would transact, how would they pay, right? Because if I want my agent to book my travel, let's say flight and stuff, it has to be able to access my wallet or something. So that's where Google has come out with this protocol, agents payment protocol, and very quickly all the big payment companies like PayPal and Stripe and everybody has jumped onto it. They are kind of already integrating it very quickly. So now my agent will be able to not only plan my itinerary, it will be able to book my hotels and you know everything else. So this is going to have a big impact because ultimately everything is going to be agentic, and now agents will be able to make payments automatically, right? So they've built in a lot of security features as to what was decided and how it was done, because agents are still not super reliable, but then people are starting to experiment. So that was one thing which was very interesting and important, because a lot of things are going to change based on this very, very quickly,
Don't
right?
you think it would be very difficult for them to get to people to trust these AI agents to make payments, right? That is something that would be very difficult for them to get.
So in this era of AI, every month seems like 10 years itself, right? So from the point they're looking at it, from let's say what people are looking at it in San Francisco or the Valley, right? They are probably 3 or 4 months ahead of us, right? So they're already getting used to agents. They are now thinking about how agents can make at least smaller payments, right? Let's say I limit it to, you can make a payment of up to 1,000 rupees, not more than that, right? So that, and maybe only 5 or 10 times in a day. So 10,000 is a maximum budget. 1,000 is a maximum one transaction. Those kind of things, those limits will be put in. So what I'm trying to say is we are still behind the curve a little bit, in terms of that we are not very comfortable with the idea of agents making payment on my behalf. But maybe in 3 4 months, when you see everybody around you doing it, you'll also become very comfortable, right? So that's how it happens. That's how technology moves forward, and that's how it's been moving forward super fast. The other very important thing that happened from Google was Google came out with a very interesting report. Okay, they came out with a report of AI adoption across software work. Okay, and they have some very interesting statistics that they've published. For example, they've said 90% of software development professionals are now using AI at work, which is what MIT's report earlier on also kind of said, right? But that was a very limited kind of audience that they had. This one is a lot broader audience. And 80% report that AI has increased their productivity. So people are seeing increased productivity because of AI. 65% people are relying on AI's at least moderate amount at work. Okay, so that is there. And then 59% of the survey respondents say AI has positive impact on their code quality. So code quality is also improving just because of AI. So those kind of findings were there. But apart from that, there was very, very interesting statistic there, which says, only 24% have a lot of trust in AI. Okay. And 30% either trust it very little or not at all. So the trust is not increasing in AI, but people are still going ahead and using it, and they're seeing the benefits, which is which is a very interesting paradox. But then that's what's happening. So this is a very interesting report. Everybody should kind of read it. I'll give the link for this in the description below. But that's what, So that was a very interesting report for me to read. Obviously, these kind of reports tell you where things are going and where people are moving towards. So that way, it was very interesting report for me to read through. I think that's pretty much it from my side on Google. They've done a whole lot. They haven't released their model yet, but they've done a lot of software work. They've done a lot of integrations, and hopefully in October is going to be very interesting when you get to see Chrome updates, when you get to see YouTube updates, when you get to see Gemini on TV. So that is going to be a very interesting month to watch out for.
Yeah, we're saying October. It's like 1 week. 5-6 days
almost. Actually. Yeah, we're almost. And 2nd October incidentally is a holiday here, so let's see if it comes out. Do we get to try it or not? Cool. So I think that's pretty much it about Google. Now moving on to, I would say Apple, although it did not do anything on AI like we've been talking on last couple of podcasts. But so Apple iPhone 17 was launched. We talked about it, right? And we were kind of thinking and discussing Apple is losing its edge, and people are not would not be buying a lot of phones now. But it seems our predictions fell on their face, right? So people queued up even in Bombay to buy iPhone 17. Have you tracked that?
No, not really, but I've seen that people are going crazy about the new color schemes and the new design. The orange color, I think, it's bonkers.
Yep. So it's, a lot of people are buying for the orange color, it seems. But the bigger thing was, it seems in China, people pre-ordered iPhone 17 because of their government subsidy scheme, which is going on, which has, any electronic item which is below $823 has government subsidy on it. So a lot of people use that subsidy to order iPhone, which is where there has been surge in iPhone demand in China, and which is causing. So that's where iPhone 17 demand kind of saw a huge surge. But apart from that, I don't think it's very. They've done some design changes which appeal to some, don't appeal to others. So those things are always debatable. But let's see when they come out with their AI features. They're saying that they're integrating a lot of AI behind the scenes. And I see some notifications coming, for example, when I'm at home, it says that, you should put on focus mode and whatnot. But I don't know whether that's AI generated or there's something else that they've added. But I haven't seen anything noticeable yet. So apart from these tech giants, there's been a big news, right? It's been some time since that news came out. It came out on 11th or 12th of September, right? Have you heard about that? AI minister?
There was a country, Albania. They appointed AI as their mayor, if I'm not wrong.
AI, I think, was appointment as the minister.
Minister. Wow. Okay.
Yep. So Albania is dealing with a lot of corruption. Okay. So we know that humans in these countries can be very corrupt. They can ask for money for everything, right? So that's where they're trying to experiment to see if we make AI a minister, would it ask for kickbacks or not? So would it be corruptible, or would it lead to lesser corruption? So that's what they're experimenting with, which is very interesting. Yeah. So it seems, we'll see a lot of use cases around AI very soon. Yeah, I was not thinking that I'll see this use case, AI becoming a cabinet level minister so quickly in any country, but then it has already happened. So maybe that sets a trend for other places as well. We've seen other countries, for example, Ukraine had appointed an AI-generated foreign ministry spokesperson, Victoria, right? That happened long back. We've seen, as much as I remember, Japanese Fringe Party had an AI penguin leader, something like that, right? So those things were happening, but then I never thought of, at least so soon we'll see an AI minister, but we have. Albania has introduced. Let's see how it performs and if it becomes example for other countries to follow. Yep. So it
This
is.
would be so difficult to explain to someone like just 20 years ago that a computer basically a computer is running the government for them.
Yep.
Just like, could you imagine telling this to someone in 2015?
Yeah, I mean, even a couple of years back, maybe during COVID time, or maybe, yeah. I mean, even right now, it's astonishing, right? But so it's got an AI generated avatar, and it oversees public procurement as cabinet level minister. So procurement is where a lot of corruption happens. People ask for kickbacks and all. Let's hope that AI doesn't learn that trend, feature and starts asking for kickbacks. I hope it doesn't, but let's see. So world is changing faster than we can imagine. Yeah. Apart from that, now coming back to India, right? Some interesting news from India is that, have you tracked anything?
No, not really.
Okay, so in India, basically, it seems a couple of news that I've been tracking. One is basically, so government is pushing for Swadeshi, right? So Indian government has actively started migrating to Zoho. They're trying to use their homegrown, like Indian software suite of products, right? So that's what I think I saw a couple of tweets as well from ministers and all who are pushing, to be who are saying openly that they're now using Zoho instead of Microsoft products, right? And Zoho has a whole suite of products. So if you, I don't know, have you used anything or not? We have used CRM quite a lot from Zoho, but we haven't used anything. I mean, we've used mail as well also earlier for some time, but we haven't used a whole lot. But now, with this Swadeshi push, everybody's, at least they're pushing, trying to use Zoho, and which is good for Indian companies as well. I mean, if we start adopting some Indian developed softwares and all, that will be good for Indian companies, because ultimately outsourcing and everything is under so much political control that, yeah, that it's good to have your own homegrown alternates for all of these. I don't know how much we'll be able to do with social media, WhatsApp replacement and all, but let's see. So that was one big news that's happening here in India. And the other one was basically, let me try to just, so basically Fractal, it seems, has been selected by Government of India under India AI mission to build nation's first large reasoning model, right? So they are planning to build India's own reasoning model. It's going to be 70 billion kind of parameter kind of model. And it seems Fractal is saying that they will be using some open source. So for example, Llama is there, DeepSeek is there, 70 billion parameters models. They'll most likely be leveraging these models to build India's own. I don't know. I mean, building on open source and calling it your own, I don't know how they'll do it, but let's see. So Fractal has been chosen, it seems, by Government of India to kind of build that model. And they've been given a timeline, it seems, as to when it will be ready or when it will be out. But they've got a total project budget of 118 crores. So that seems like a sufficient enough budget to be able to get that model. I don't know whether they'll just be fine tuning or they'll just be retraining the model with our data, but that is yet to be seen. But yeah, it seems we'll have our own AI sometime soon. So those were two things that are happening here back in India. Anything else from your side?
No, I think I have covered all the topics that I was really excited about.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, it's been a long podcast because there was so much to cover on this one. So I think we should wrap it up here, and hopefully, I mean, you're going to have your exams very soon. So let's see when do we do the next one. But let's see. Yeah. So
Yep.
I'll wrap this one up here. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, not walking, and thanks so much, Akshan, for taking the time out. Thank you.
Thank you so much.